Over the years, Brandon Sanderson has released many different books. Most of them were books related to the Cosmere, his shared universe of fantasy novels, while others were non-Cosmere related. As an avid fantasy fan and a Brandon Sanderson fan, I've loved the Cosmere ever since I first read it. And over time, I've managed to read almost all of the Cosmere related material out there. So today, I'd like to go over my top 5 favorite Cosmere books. These will be the 5 Cosmere books I feel I've enjoyed the most thus far and that has stuck with me the most after reading them. And while I could have made a top 10 list, I would prefer a shorter list more focused on the books I love above all else. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying any of the other Cosmere books aren't good. I honestly don't think Brandon Sanderson can even write a completely bad book. But these are the ones that stick out to me as the ones I enjoyed the most. So let's get started with the list before I drag this video on for too long, starting with number 5. Warbreaker. Warbreaker is a standalone novel focused around the political friction between two nations and the people caught in the middle. We meet Ciri, Vivenna, Lightsong and Vasher as they fight to keep two powerful kingdoms from spiraling into war. I loved Warbreaker not only for the cool characters and the vibrant world building, but also for the larger Cosmere implications it has. If you're familiar with both Warbreaker and the Stormlight Archive, you'll know just how much Cosmere relevance this book and these characters have. Lightsong is an absolute delight to read, and his witty banter with Blushweaver and Larimar absolutely carries some sections of the book. Ciri is headstrong and determined, which is a trait in characters I really enjoy reading. Vasher is mysterious and undoubtedly powerful, but we don't get to know much about him until the very end of the book. Vivenna starts off as frustrating and annoying, but grows into arguably the strongest character in the whole book. My very first video is actually about Vivenna and how the whole book is primarily her story. Brandon Sanderson has only really ever written 2 standalone Cosmere novels that are not part of a larger series or trilogy. And while he has stated that both will eventually get sequels or more, as of this recording we only have these 2 solitary books. Elantris was his first and Warbreaker was written a while later. And having read both, I can confidently say that Warbreaker stands head and shoulders above Elantris in my opinion. The Final Empire. The Mistborn trilogy is probably the most well-known Brandon Sanderson books in existence. Many non-Sanderson and non-fantasy fans start their journey by reading the Mistborn trilogy. The books have a mass appeal to most audiences while retaining strong roots in the fantasy genre. The Final Empire is the first book in the trilogy, and it is probably one of the strongest entries to a fantasy trilogy that I've ever seen. The characters are all very well defined and have strong personalities, but none overshadow the others. We have an iconic cast like Vin, Kelsier, Elend, Sazed, Breeze and many more. Vin is the heart of the story and the primary protagonist. She has a heart of gold and a fierce determination about her that few can hope to match. Kelsier is the rugged scoundrel who gathers and leads his crew, though there is a lot more to him than most realize. Elend is the soft-spoken, witty scholar whose head is filled with more ideals than reality. Sazed is soft and kind, but a solid pillar of strength for his friends to lean on. The story centers around a group of thieves hoping to steal something from the evil Lord Ruler in the hopes of toppling his empire. And while it is the first book in a trilogy, it wraps up and closes in a way that leaves a satisfying ending even if you don't read the other 2 books. Definitely well deserving of the number 4 slot on this list. Oathbringer. Oathbringer is the 3rd book in the Stormlight Archive, and definitely one of the strongest entries in the series thus far. I may be biased since the book focuses on my favorite character in the series, but even if this character were my least favorite, the book is still so well done I would end up loving him. The book is the 3rd in a long-running series, so there's not a lot I can say about the plot without spoiling it. Basically, our heroes attempt to save a city and fight against an enemy that is almost literally unending. The book focuses on one of the main cast, Dalinar, and his struggles with the current position and the things he did in his younger years. I really enjoyed this book because of the emotional journey it put us through as readers. We come to understand these characters a lot better, and we get to experience part of this world previously unexplored. I'm a huge world building nerd, and we got a lot of that in this book as well. And while some people feel the political scenes in this book were slow or boring, I really enjoyed those scenes and felt the book came together extremely well. Oathbringer is a fantastic book with strong characters, an engaging plot, and a full realized world for you to sink your teeth into. If you finish the first 2 books in the series, I definitely urge you to get around to reading the third. It's absolutely worth the time and effort. Hero of Ages. Hero of Ages is the third and final installment of the first Mistborn trilogy. And while I absolutely love the final Empire, Hero of Ages ties things together and completes the story so well that it outshines even that great book by a mile. We get to see our favorite characters develop more as they face a threat beyond anything they've ever imagined. Vin grows into a very capable and very powerful warrior in this book. She learns how to take down enemies previously thought impossible to face, while also learning to open herself up more to her friends. Elend grows from an insecure and idealistic scholar to a self-assured and pragmatic leader that can help guide his people out of the mess that they're in. Zed undergoes severe emotional hardship and struggles as he comes to grips with his own beliefs and the beliefs of those around him. Overall, the emotional beats of this story are incredibly well done and some of the best that Brandon has managed to pull off. And the plot itself is epic fantasy on the biggest scale. The world is ending and a godlike being is threatening the lives of everyone we hold dear. Our heroes must find a way to save the world and themselves before it's too late. The plot is epic fantasy at its best, and I enjoy every single moment of it. Hero of Ages is probably the best Mistborn book in my opinion, and I cannot wait to see what else Brandon has in store for us and this world in future Mistborn eras. The Way of Kings. And finally we come to the last entry on this list. My top favorite Cosmere novel by far is the first entry of the Stormlight Archive. If the Final Empire was the strongest entry to a fantasy trilogy I've ever seen, then The Way of Kings is the strongest entry to a fantasy series that I've ever had the pleasure of reading. We're introduced to the world of Roshar through the eyes of our protagonist Kaladin. As the story progresses, we get to see how Kaladin evolves and develops himself into a strong and capable leader, even if he has every right to give up. We see him face hardships and even stare death in the face more than once. Kaladin is probably one of the best written Cosmere characters Brandon Sanderson has ever written. We also have 2 other characters as well. We have Dalinar Kholin, an old, almost retired warlord and my personal favorite Cosmere character of all time. And then we have Shallan Davar, a scholar and artist with deeply hidden secrets locked away in her past. Each of these 2 characters shine throughout the whole book, but that doesn't mean that they distract from the rest of the cast. Brandon has written a wide and diverse cast here to complement the main characters very well. Each and every character in this book feels like a real person with their own desires and their own ambitions. Definitely one of the best character-focused books in the Cosmere. And that's not even touching on the plot and how it relates to the characters, to further books in the series, and to the Cosmere as a whole. I'll leave the discovery of all of that up to you. For now, I'm content in saying that The Way of Kings is my #1 Cosmere book currently in existence. But, of course, these were just the 5 books I enjoyed the most. There are other books in the Cosmere I enjoy, but I didn't include them here. If you'd like to see me make a part 2 of this video where I talk about books 6 to 10, let me know in the comments below and I'll end up making the video most likely. But anyway, that has been it from me for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'd consider doing so. And if you haven't watched my 1000 subscriber celebration video, I'd like to remind you that I've set up a Discord server. The link will be in the description below, so feel free to click it and join us as we talk about books, meme about the Cosmere, and just discuss everything fantasy. But thank you very much for watching, guys. My name has been Raven, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody.